Okay, hi everyone, Daryl here. Okay, today my presentation will be on this topic. Tax season is around the corner, corporate tax filing season. So today my topic will be late filing or non-filing of corporate income tax returns. Okay, so a lot of people have been asking me, what happens if I don't file my corporate income tax return? Then what will happen? So this presentation is for you. It's good to know the penalties, and then maybe we can take this a little bit more seriously. So some companies, they just don't file corporate income tax returns, and then the controller for income tax, right, which is IRAS, they'll come after the company. Okay, so we must understand the tax filing deadline. The corporate tax filing deadline for year of assessment 2020 is 15th of December. But moving forward, right, the corporate tax filing deadline for year of assessment 2021 onwards, right, is 30th of November. And I mentioned in my previous presentation, right, dormant companies, right, you are still required to file your corporate income tax returns unless you as a company has been granted a waiver of corporate income tax return submission. So if you are dormant and you require, to apply for this waiver of corporate income tax returns, then you can come to us if you are not familiar with how to do this submission. We can do the submission for you. Okay, so companies, if you are still making losses, right, you are still required to file Form C, Form CS, and Form CS Lite. I've done a separate presentation on the differences between Form C, Form CS, and Form CS Lite, and how you qualify to file with either one of them. Okay, so the late filing or non-filing of corporate income tax returns, right? IRAS, the Inland Revenue Authority of Singapore, right? They may take the following actions if the companies fail to file their corporate income tax before the due date. So one of the actions, these four actions can be taken. So the first one is to issue an estimated notice of assessment. So IRAS, they will estimate based on some data that they have or past filings by the company. Then they just give a notice of assessment that's estimated, and then the company, right, has to pay the tax based on this estimate within a month. It's non-negotiable, this payment of this tax based on this estimate. So the second one will be to compound the offence with a composition fine not exceeding Singapore dollars $1,000. The third one will be to enforce Section 65B of the Income Tax Act to compel the director, right, to submit the required information in Form C or Form CS to IRAS. Okay, so if you're the director, right, of a company, and then the company doesn't file corporate tax, then based on this, right, you have to, IRAS can compel you to do so. There are some penalties for not fulfilling this as well. Okay, then the fourth one is to summon the company or person responsible for running the company to court. Okay, so IRAS can, issue a summon, and then the company or the person responsible, you are the director, then most probably you'll be hauled up to court as well. Okay, so what is the estimated notice of assessment? Like I mentioned before, right, the estimated NOA is based on the company's past year's income or information that is available to IRAS. So IRAS may use an estimate of the different types of companies within that company type or within that industry, right? And then based on that to give you an estimated NOA, or they can even use your past year's income to give you this estimated NOA. So the company must make payment on the tax based on this estimated NOA. Even if you want to reject, right, you still have to make payment. Okay, if you don't make payment on this, right, there'll be penalties for late payment. So eventually, the actual tax, if you make payment and you submit the objection to this estimated NOA, and then the eventual tax is less than this, right, then IRAS will refund you the excess. Okay, the company can object to this assessment, right, from within 2 months from the date of estimated NOA. Okay, the second one is IRAS can issue this composition offer to the company, right? So the composition offer amount ranges from Singapore dollars 200 to Singapore dollars 1,000. The company will need to make payment on the composition amount, and then they will still have to file the overdue tax returns and documents to IRAS to settle the tax offences. So you still have to pay your tax, you still have to file your tax, and then you still have to pay this composition amount. Okay, so if you don't pay this composition amount, right, then IRAS may take legal action against the company. So the composition amount means that there's no record. Okay, it's like a parking fine is a composition amount. Okay, so this composition amount less serious. Okay, then we're getting on to things that are more serious. Okay, so IRAS can compel the director, right, under Section 65B of the Income Tax Act, to provide the required information requested before the due date. So they'll send a letter to the director, and then they'll tell them, say, we are using this section 65B of the Income Tax Act, right? You have to provide us with this information stated in the notice. Then after that, right, there's a due date on the notice also. So the directors have to, the director or whoever that receives the letter, right, has to provide IRAS with this information. If not, right, IRAS can summon them to court. Okay, so remember, if IRAS summon you to court, right, you cannot say you don't want to go to court. Okay, so a company director convicted for failure to comply to Section 65B could face a fine of up to SGD $10,000 or imprisonment of up to 12 months or both. Okay, so when IRAS sends you this notice to compel you as a director to provide this information under Section 65B, right, you cannot don't care. You cannot don't respond. If you don't respond, you may be liable for this fine or this imprisonment or both. Okay, so a court summons may be issued to the company and or director to attend court on a specific date if IRAS does not receive the required tax return or documents before the due date or payment of the composition amount before the due date. So if they offer to compound the offence, you don't pay, or they compel you under the, that section of the Income Tax Act and then you don't respond, right, then they can summon you to court. Okay, so if you don't wish to attend court, right, then you have to take the following action at least 1 week before the court date. So you got to file the outstanding tax return and or documents, and then you got to pay the composition fine amount. Okay, so if you fail to attend court, right, there will be further legal action taken against the company. Like for example, a warrant of arrest may be issued to the directors. Then in court, right, the company representative or director will take a plea after the charges are read. So upon conviction, right, the company may face a fine up to $1,000. Okay, and then the long story short is that the company must still file the outstanding documents. Okay, so you not, of course, further legal actions may be taken again. So like we mentioned, right, these are all the late filing or non-filing of corporate tax income returns, and then IRAS will take these actions against the companies or the directors or the company representatives. So the fact of the matter is that please take corporate income tax filing seriously, and then so that you can avoid all this. So if there's a failure to file corporate income tax returns for 2 or more years, right, then the company may be issued with a summon to attend court. So upon conviction, right, the company may be ordered to by the court to pay a penalty that is twice the amount of tax assessed or a fine of up to Singapore dollars $1,000. Okay, so if you are not sure how to file your corporate income tax, right, you can appoint a third party to file your corporate income tax. The company will need to do so by adding a third party via CorpPass. So if you need assistance with filing your corporate income tax, right, you may contact us. Like I mentioned, right, there are penalties for non-filing or late filing of corporate tax. This presentation just explain all the penalties. So we hope that everyone will take it seriously. If you don't understand how to file corporate income tax, right, you can look for us, and we provide this service to clients to help them to file their corporate income tax. Make sure that they are compliant, they don't get into trouble with IRAS. Okay, so that's all from me for this video, and I'll see you in the next video. Thanks for tuning in.